Morning, everybody. Welcome to Daryl and Boo's weekly update for March 29th on a beautiful sunny morning here after that disastrous weekend. How you doing, Boo?
Yeah, good. Had a good weekend. Kind of skirted through the weather. Went out mountain biking on Saturday morning, trying to beat the weather. Saw a window there, and we did hit it. We managed to get some riding in before. Actually, we didn't really get any rain. I was anticipating rain by about 11 o'clock or so. The forecast said the night before, and never totally came through. But yeah, got some riding in. Went to North Van, Mount Frome, which is kind of one of, there's three big mountain biking mountains on the North Shore there, and we got to one of them, and it was really nice. They have a really nice setup, so kudos to the trail builders there that put in all the time and effort to build that stuff. Really amazing woodwork that they do there, which is cool. And then yesterday bombed up to Whistler. It's the end of the season, and just wanted to get up there for like a quick day trip, and so we kind of just bombed up and skied a bit and came back, and it was stormy, so we were fighting through that. We had like 5 minutes of actual sunshine, but otherwise it was just pretty crazy, pretty windy, pretty snowy. But it was the kids, my two boys. I didn't bring my daughter because she wouldn't be able to handle a whole day there, but my boys can handle a whole day. So we went up really early in the morning, skied a bit, and then just kind of came back all in one day, and worked out pretty well.
Very cool. And your boys have been to Whistler before because you guys camp up there in the summertime, but this was their first time actually on any of the hills, I take it, for skiing. Cool.
Yeah, they went mountain biking at the end of last season, and they were super excited about that. Really stoked to check it out because they watched all that stuff and they see other people doing it, and they were excited to do the mountain biking. And then the skiing, they hadn't had an opportunity. It's not the cheapest endeavor when you're bringing kids, which is why I wanted to wait until they could actually make use of a full day. Otherwise, it's a lot to bite off. It's like half the cost of our season's tickets, basically, compared to going to Cyprus. So it was kind of maybe we'll do it as like a once a year treat for them until we can really make use of their a full day there for them. So it was a good time.
Great spot, obviously, but comes with a cost. We're watching the weather coming up here for this long weekend and kicking around the idea of at least going up for a couple of nights. We haven't been up to Whistler at all this winter, so if the weather looks promising, we'll head up there maybe on Friday morning, do a couple of nights in Whistler, but we'll see how it plays out.
Very cool. And how was your weekend?
Not nearly as adventurous as yours. Saturday morning went for a nice long run, and then we had some few things to do, and then met up with some friends of ours in the afternoon, which was great. Hadn't caught up with them in a while. It's funny. They my friend and his wife, both of our friends of ours, are into mountain biking as well as multiple other sports. So he was talking about upgrading his wife's mountain bike. They had just been looking at them, and they just said, I think you were talking about this earlier with John Callahan on a previous show, that there's just, you want a decent mountain bike, there's just nothing to be had. But he managed to purchase a mountain bike while we were on the phone having a beer at one of the brew pubs.
No, really?
Yeah, so he's upgraded her bike, and I think he had a strategy in mind, because now that he's upgraded her bike, he's got an excuse to upgrade his bike, which I think is only a year old, or maybe a year and a half old. But
yeah.
That's
so. I mean, on the bikes, it's hard to get something that's kind of in the lower or mid tier. If you want to spend $10,000, you will get a $10,000 bike easily, because those ones do not fly off the shelf.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that number, because I think it was just right around there, maybe slightly more than that. So and his will be more, but yeah, it was great to see those guys. Very good friends of ours, and they live out in the North Shore, so they do lots of mountain biking, and so I'm sure they'll be happy with that. But I know we've got our good friend Peter Scheffler waiting in the wings here. We should probably bring on. And yeah.
Oh, looks like he's at the airport.
Yeah, I'm daydreaming. Yes, I'm laughing at your bike conversation, because for those of you may not know that I'm in the Toronto area, not the Vancouver area. And we went from winter to nothing, like to spring in 10 days. So my skidoo days are done now, which apparently is very early. Normally it's into April that you should be able to get some sort of time on the trails, but there's no snow in Ontario. Like, you can go northern Ontario and it's gone.
Oh, really?
We had snow last night, but it was like a dusting, and it was like crazy cold. But we've had 20-degree weather for probably 15, 20-degree weather for the better part of the last 3 weeks. And
wow.
So it's been nice. So my wife's comment to me maybe 10 days ago, so what are you going to buy for a bike? and so I'm looking, and there are not a lot of options. Boo, you're right. I mean, my idea for a road bike is it's got to be a 15-year-old bike that I rode last year, and I think I put close to, I think it was 700K that I put on the bike last year.
Wow.
And it was just it goes back to Sport Mart. So I don't know if you guys know Sport Check and you know the
Sport Mart.
Yeah. So it's an old, so it goes back a long time, but it was a reasonably good bike then, and I've fixed a few things on it and had the tires replaced, and I've tuned it up and stuff. But it's not designed to go 700 kilometers in a year. I mean, it showed its pedigree last year. So it's time to look for something new. And there is not a lot in the reasonably priced range. You can go and find for me, I'm not mountain biking. I want like a hybrid road bike kind of thing, like a road and gravel bike. And you can spend $1,500 for one. But those are hard to come by. If you want to go and spend $4,000 and $5,000, go ahead. They're probably sitting there waiting for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm hoping to get something in the 12 to, maybe if I have to go up to the 2,000 range, that might be the limit. But something I'd like to get to 1,000K this year. So
yeah, we're kicking around the idea of. So we've got those hybrid bikes in the summertime. That's what we'll do. But where we live, it's easy to get anywhere. So you can ride from our place down to Kitsilano, or even up to Jericho or UBC, what have you. It's easy ride. Getting home, we live in a kind of the almost the highest. Well, I guess we are the highest point in Vancouver, and then it switches to Burnaby. So after a long day of riding, getting home is a bit of a grind. So we're kicking around the idea of getting, I don't even call them, if they're scooters or whatever they are, but when you go to places in the US and they have those birds, those stand-up little two-wheelers that are electric.
Oh,
So lots of options.
So are you looking at the one wheel kind of thing, or are you looking at
No, the little two-wheelers.
Okay, great.
And you can, starting with a little bit of investigation on those ones, but you can get anything from a reasonably priced one. You know, the more battery power that you have and the more horsepower that you have, of course, cost goes up on them. And there's wider tires for some, but you can spend a lot of money on those, and you can actually get ones that go quite fast, like faster than you'd probably want to go in one of those little things. But
I'll send you a couple YouTube guys I've been following because I'm going to get one for my wife, an e-bike, so that she can go with me, kind of thing. And I'm following a couple of guys over the last month or two because I'm trying to figure out what what the options are, and there's a lot out.
Froze up a little bit there, but our idea is for those things is chucking them in the back of the car, and depending on where we're going.
Did I just drop?
Yeah, just dropped off for a bit there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Peter.
Sorry. Yeah. So, but I'll send you the link because that's also in the plan too for the summer stuff.
Yeah.
I'll interject here as well. One of the articles I had come across was BC government approves the e-scooter pilot project for 4 cities in Metro Vancouver. So you'll be able to try it out on your hill there, Daryl. Vancouver, North Van City, North Van District, and West Van. Okay.
Which is awesome. I was thought Vancouver. We've got more and more bike lanes now, so I think it'll kind of take off because it's fun. We always jump on those things when we're on vacation down in the US, but cities that have them, and you can cover a lot of ground. But our kind of plan is just to have something you can throw in the back of the car and take wherever. Not going to be by any means our normal mode of transportation in the summer, but a fun thing to do every once in a while.
I know when we've been in San Diego and other things for ISC and for, I don't use an Uber. I just jump on those because they usually use Uber bikes or the Lime bikes or whatever, and they cost you $1 to get where you want to go, and you feel like you're doing something healthy. So
no exercise, but it's it's kind of a fun way to zip around.
It's fun.
Yeah. So we were talking about some topics just on before we were going to have you on, Peter, and one of the topics that I thought, and we'd brought this up last week, was NFTs and non-fungible tokens. It's kind of the big thing in tech it just feels like maybe as of the last 2 months, this has been the big thing, but I know it's been growing over time. This is probably the biggest. This article is from a few weeks back now, but I think this is the one that caught a lot of people's eyes. This artwork that this gentleman named Beeple, I think his real name is Mike Winkleman, $69 million that he sold digital art for.
To 2 young guys too, which was interesting to me that they paid that much so early in this process. Again, I don't fully understand it, but the fact that you're paying $69 million for a relatively unknown artist so early in NFTs doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm hoping these guys thought that through. They got the money to do it, but or the Bitcoin to do it.
Brings me to the next article. As more artists and musicians turn their attention to NFTs, so likely do money launderers.
Yes, I'm sure.
Hiding money is there's a lot of that happening in the like it's unaudited, right? So that's the whole idea. So it's a way to fund money in and fund money out. So it's interesting. We're the NFT. It's when you mentioned NFT, I said that it had come up 3 times in the last 2 weeks before that for me, on a podcast talk about NFTs. And I honestly had to go Google what NFT was when I got back from my walk. I was like, okay, I think I should know this. And it turns out I had heard about it, but it wasn't top of mind for me. And then so work conversations, NFTs come up a couple times as well. So I don't know. I think it's kind of the answer the world's been looking for tracking ownership, right? Like that. We've tried digital rights management several times, and you end up sort of in somebody's ecosystem, right? So Apple seems to do a fairly good job of it, but you're in the Apple ecosystem, and it's more music related. And I remember this being a conversation. God, it's got to be 20 years ago, at a digital marketing company I was working with, and we had a technology for email to sort of validate the email and a couple other things, and that was a problem, right? I mean, this goes back to, it was 1999, and it's not really been solved. So I'm interested to see how this NFT thing comes together, and a couple of the leaders that are out there are, the NBA is sort of adopting it, and with their cards and their images and stuff, and being able to buy rights to a picture and that kind of stuff.
I remember, for tracking things like land titles, myself and Daryl had a conversation with someone a few years back now, but he was saying in India, land titles are kind of just as good as a piece of paper that could get torn up by the government. And so I think his father's land had been kind of just taken away without really any sort of court decision or anything like that. And so there are countries that could use like proper records management and ownership management, and this could be a great answer for them in emerging markets.
Yeah, I guess if there is the desire to do that in some of these countries where I think it's part technology and part corruption that is driving those sorts of things too. But you're right. I mean, a relatively inexpensive way to kind of keep track of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the chain holds it all, everything, right? So, I mean, it's interesting when that money launderers are use these things, but they still need to be able to get the money out in a way that's not trackable. And the whole irony is, it is trackable. It's just they need a sort of an off ramp that isn't trackable. So as long as those are available, yeah, and it's also, I mean, it's driving. Best line I've heard. It stands for.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, Tesla is accepting, Bitcoin, and if other companies start to do that, that just opens up a whole new, like, how do you track that then, right? You can just go and start to purchase things without being able to be tracked if it's adopted en masse. But that'd be interesting to see.
Is that bank machine still in? Is it Simon Fraser? Is that the building where there used to be a bank machine? You could take out money from your. I guess it was from a Bitcoin wallet or something like that. Wasn't that what it was?
Yeah, there's a few actually, and who is our friend Albert Boo, the other guy that has the name Boo. He's big into that business actually. In the last couple of years, he's been building that up. But he used to operate the ATM, like Bitcoin ATM machines. Had a company that was doing that, and he's on to whatever it is his next venture is right now. But he's I chatted with him a couple months ago, or maybe a month ago there, and he's working on his next thing. But yeah, that exists.
Yeah,
there's one in a coffee shop like 5 minutes away from me, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it seems it's that whole thing seems interesting to me, that you can have a bank machine and spit out cash for a digital token.
Money.
It isn't easy to get the money out of Bitcoin. I mean, the Ethereum that I've been playing with over the last few years. I mean, you have to have an exchange that will support your transaction. And my daughter was trying to buy into Bitcoin last fall when it was going up. And she just wanted to, she was nervous, and she's like, well, I just want to buy some. And she couldn't use her Visa card. Like she wanted to just go onto an exchange and use her Visa card to put, to buy $50 and just see what would happen. But Visa wouldn't accept the transaction. Like it's not something that the RBC Visa was allowed to do. So there's a lot of challenges getting the money in and out. It's not simple.
So I know you were into some mining, and maybe you still are doing some mining there, Chef, but there's a company, I believe here in Vancouver, Cloud9 Crypto Mining, basically makes it easy to turn just your basic computer into a crypto miner, which from what I understand is not really profitable without ASICs at this point. So I'm not sure what the play is here, if people are just going to lose money on power.
There's not a lot you can do without good, like you need GPUs for most of them. You can't do anything in Bitcoin without an ASIC. I mean, there's just no, even GPUs don't process enough to, like, you need dedicated hardware for those. And typically most Bitcoin happens in mountains or in deep pits, because then you don't have to pay for cooling. You can cool in the air, or you can cool using geothermal. Like Bitcoin itself is just crazy, and the transaction cost to process Bitcoin is very expensive. So even if you need to do something with Bitcoin now, because it is so expensive now, the price to do a transaction is significantly higher. You have to be really entrenched in the Bitcoin world to use it. I mean, Ethereum is okay because the blockchain is, I've heard numbers of like 25 cents a transaction. That's what you get charged to validate your transaction. So sitting at whatever it is, $1,800 US right now for a token. It's worthwhile, at least a little bit, to stay in that market. But there's just so many coins out there. Everybody and their dog has a coin, right? So
yeah. Interesting times. Well, I got a couple, outside of that stuff, got a couple pieces of news that we can run through in our last couple minutes here. Just this past weekend, some folks would know that I'm into CrossFit, and I wore my CrossFit 416 shirt that doesn't really fit on camera here, but just for the sake of Chef. Now, the CrossFit Open is kind of the first stage of, if you want to actually kind of measure yourself in a lot about CrossFit is about like measuring results and then checking how things look later on. One of the things they do is every year there's a competition. You don't have to be, a high level person, though. There's hundreds of thousands of people that just throw in $20 and then they get to log themselves on a leaderboard and kind of see where they rank. And so this was the last week of that. The last workout is a 2-part workout, and this was it. 15 front squats. This is with a barbell, 95 pounds for men, 65 for ladies. 15 front squats, 30 toe to bar, which is hanging off of a bar. Instead of doing a pull-up, you're actually, and people will do leg raises for an ab workout. This is actually getting your toes completely up to touch the bar that you're hanging off of. Ooh. A thruster, which is a front squat, and then an overhead press in one fluid movement. Rest, back to 15 front squats, 30 chest to bar, which is a pull-up where your chest is actually high enough that it can graze the bar at least. Thrusters again, 15 front squats, 30 bar muscle ups. So this is actually pulling yourself up to the point where you can get yourself over the bar and press down onto the bar, kind of like a dip, and then come back down and do that again for 30 and 15 thrusters. So I did this. I got up to the point of there's a 15-minute time limit to try to finish this in. I only got up to about 3 bar muscle ups, and I was happy enough with that. Second part of the workout, a complex where you can't. So the idea of the complex is you're not letting go of the barbell. 7 minutes to do this. A deadlift, and then a clean, which is pulling a barbell up and then landing in a front squat, or it doesn't have to be a full squat. A hang clean, which means it's not off the ground, or sorry, it's not lifted off the ground, but you're still holding onto the bar, lowering it, and then pulling it up into this squat position. And then a jerk, which is getting the bar overhead. And so that was a 7-minute time cap. So it caught my eye this morning because this guy I follow, and this is a bit of inspiration for folks. This guy is 54 years old. He's the 2 times CrossFit Games champion for the 50 to 55 age bracket. This guy is an absolute monster. He's the CEO of a steel company. Started his career as an iron worker and moved himself up to the point of being the CEO of his own company. And then this is there's a YouTube video of him doing this workout. But yeah, pretty cool to see this guy work out. He's very veiny.
Yeah, looks like Tommy Chong, completely jacked. That's crazy. Is he from the States, Boo, this guy?
He's actually in Seattle. He's got some ownership in a gym down there. So, he has the advantage of getting to work out whenever he wants, I guess.
Are you able to pull up results? I know our friend Andrea Kilroy, who's a very serious CrossFitter, she was doing this.
Yeah, let's see if she's in here. There's an Irish Sean Kilroy.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably lots of them.
There is. How do we? Oh, I know. I'm in the wrong part here. All right. She has not logged her scores at all this year.
Yeah, okay.
And I didn't either, just because I didn't know if I would get to do the whole thing. But it's pretty fun. And you know what? There's a woman who goes to my gym, and shout out to her. She is currently, so all the scores have not been submitted. You have to submit your scores by 5 o'clock today, and she is in 13th place in the world.
Oh, wow!
For age 50 to 54. So she'll be number 1 in Canada. I don't see any other Canadians ahead of her. But to eventually kind of graduate to the next level in the competition, at least for the Masters athletes, for the folks under 35, there's another stage, and then you get to like the big CrossFit Games. For the folks that are in the Masters division, I believe she's just going to get another set of workouts to do. She doesn't have to go anywhere to actually do them. And then she, if she kind of maintains her level here, she'll actually get to go to the big stage, which is cool. She works a lot on this stuff, and she's, a very healthy and fit person. So, yeah.
Interesting that it's not dominated by the U.S. 5th place, but a few Australians in there and the U.S. Great Britain.
Yeah, the most dominant woman in the sport is from Australia. Where is she here? She might not have submitted her time yet because it's not 5 o'clock. But yeah, the Americans have not won a whole lot on the women's side, actually. A lot of women from Iceland that seem to win.
Yeah, fair enough. strongman competitions. There's always a couple people from Iceland and Norway that are just
Norway too, yeah, isn't there? Yeah, it seems to be.
monsters. Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're trying to have a boxing match, if I'm not mistaken, like Thor and one of the other strongmen, which has got to be, I think they're going to do 2-minute rounds as opposed to like 3-minute rounds and less rounds for those guys, because I don't know if they would have the cardio to last that long, but it should be a spectacle.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we're at the top of the hour here, and that went by pretty quickly as always, but good to see you, Chef, as always.
Yeah, good talk to you guys. Thanks for having me.
Hope you're doing well, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you at some point, hopefully in the not too distant future.
That's the whole idea for the airport.
Thanks.
I'm itching to travel for whatever reason. So
Yeah, I think we all are.
yeah.
All right.
Well, stay healthy,
Thanks,
guys.
Will.
Good
Yeah,
talking to
see you,
you. Take
Chef.
care.
Bye.